Good day everyone, especially to your teacher. My name is Baba JP Moscosa from ed2 General Curriculum. My topic is all about education in emergency. And there are subtopic of education in emergency. Those are foundational standards and the teaching and learning domain. So now, let's move on to education in emergency. Emergency education programs are the form of psychosocial intervention as they establish a familiar and learning environment, provide a regular schedule, and instill a feeling of hope for the future. Education in emergency means providing schooling in humanitarian emergency include conflict or wars, natural disaster, and health-related crises. The importance of education in emergency provides children and their communities with life-saving information including disaster preparedness, awareness of their rights and responsibilities, landmine and earthquake awareness, hygiene, and other survival skills specific to their content. So, these educational emergency are the one who teach the students to be able to be ready and do their obligations if there are disaster happens. This education in emergencies is to help the children to protect themselves from the physical danger around them. So let's move on to foundation standards. Foundational standards are the study, promote understanding in normative and ethical behavior in educational development and recognition of the inevitable presence of normative influences in education thoughts and practice. These foundation standards are the study of the behavior of and the attitude of the students if they are developing as a person. This is also influence the students to do more practice on their education related activities. There are six basic standards in educational emergency. These are number one, community participation. Number two, local resources. Number three, initial assessment. Number four, response strategy. Number five, monitoring. And number six, evaluation. These standards is to help the students to be prepared and ready if ever they are experiencing this disaster. And let's move on to the teaching and learning domain. So the effective domain includes factors such as students' motivation, attitude, perceptions, and values. Teachers can increase their effectiveness by considering the effective domain in planning courses, delivering lectures and activities, and assessing students' learning. These are four domain. These are four domain. Number one, curricula are used to provide formal and non-formal educations appropriate to the particular emergency situation. And these curricula address life skills literacy, numeracy, and competencies of basic education relevant to give stages of emergency. Curricula also address the needs of teacher and learners in order for them to be ready and able to cope the life during and after the emergency. Curricula, they are the one who provide and sustain the needs of the learners and teachers in case of the emergency. So let's move on to training. Training teachers and other educational personnel receive periodic, relevant and structured training according to the needs of circumstances. Teachers and all personnel must participate in training to be prepared and all disaster happen. And it is based on the needs of the people who participated. Training is the one who trained the students and teachers in order to be ready during the emergency. For example, Typhoon Yolanda. Teachers and school staffs needs to be trained in providing support to the learners and on how to handle classes with students coming in different grade levels. Students must be prepared and calm if ever they are experiencing a disaster. And let's move on to instruction. Instruction needs to be learned-centered, participatory, and inclusive through practice and interaction with learners. Teachers demonstrate the understanding of lesson content on of and of the teaching skills required during training courses such as incorporating psychosocial activities into curriculum in order to address the students' needs to more on for the emotional pain caused by the disaster. Before the disaster situation happened, teachers and staff must have an instructions to their learners on what to do during the emergency. So let's move on to assessment. The last domain. Assessment appropriate method are used to evaluate and validate learners' achievement assessment and evaluation method considered fair, reliable, and non-threatening to the learners and should be conducted in a way that does not increase fear and trauma. By doing this assessment, it can help the students to overcome the negative emotion such as fear and trauma that they experienced during the disaster. Assessment must conduct after the disaster happened to identify what is their situation, what is the situation of the learner, and to help the learners to fight his or her trauma and bad experiences during the disaster. And these are the sources. That's all, and thank you.